Test, 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 test. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Metaphysician 7, here to kind of go on a little short unscripted rant. Well, I say unscripted, but I recorded a podcast in which I talked about this exact same subject. Concept of working for free. Working for free, volunteering, and also working really cheap side jobs in an attempt to make more money. And then trying to think about whether you're running in circles or whether it's the proper step to take right now. Because you never want to be big-headed. I don't view myself as a big-headed person. I've been doing a variety of jobs, a variety of, whether it's menial or whether it's minimum wage or whatever, since I was started like 20. And I'm turning 32 in a couple weeks or 3 weeks. But I've also had legitimate jobs too that paid well. So I guess the real point is, I don't want to rant on too long, but the real point is, when you deal with these frustrations of doing a side job that's somebody who has a bit of an ego would envision themselves as being too good for, but you, in your mind, you're like, I just need the money. At some point you say to yourself, okay, so is this really doing anything for me? Because your time is valuable, right? And when you do some of these jobs and you rely on other people's time and you're working on somebody else's schedule and they don't value your time, they view you as like, okay, well, this person's a volunteer, or this person's working for free, or this person's doing whatever. They seem to have a lot of time. They seem to have a lot of extra time. They're a little bit more flexible in the scheduling. When that happens, and then you seem to be kind of like almost handcuffed, you got to say to yourself, okay, so is this really working for me? I had another thing like this today where there was this barbecue. And the barbecue, I was supposed to take photos and videos. It's this nonprofit thing. And then it gets canceled, but then there's the communication errors. Really, it could have been solved by a phone call, but I texted the person, it didn't get through, so I don't see how the phone call would have got through. But when I got there, I'm like, okay, this is cool, whatever. Then you say to yourself, all right, so this is something that it's like, and this is never explicitly stated, but you feel almost as if your time is kind of like, I can come here in the middle of the day to do this because I'm freelancing. But then what about the reschedule? Like, is the reschedule possible? You can't really plan things. For some people like me, like I find planning things a week in advance, 2 weeks in advance, sometimes even a week can be a bit iffy, you know what I mean? But to the person that you're scheduling with, it's like, oh, well, your time is not particularly inflexible, therefore you should be able to schedule things at all times, or you should be waiting around for a phone call or a text or whatever. And so I think this is something to be mindful of. You want to be humble and you want to do things. You don't want to ever not volunteer. You don't want to ever not do something where that's helpful for people or charity-ish or whatever. But you also want to be mindful of the fact that you don't get time back. And there's a million and one ways to help causes. I guess where I'm going with this is that for me in my life, where I'm trying to go, this non-profit-ish thing, this kind of save the world do-gooder thing, which is one facet of your personality, which is one element of, I have that in me. That's an experience that I've had. and I really strongly believe in causes that help people and helping people, and that people are downtrodden, and that, it's the whole reason why I even started to really go hard at, streaming and podcasting and so on, because it's like, okay, well, I've battled social anxiety, shyness. That has been somewhat of an obstacle. I've gotten out of it at different points. I'm a recovering alcoholic, an addict, and so therefore that experience can be helpful to people. And then at the same time, it's like, it's not like I'm balling out of control here. You know what I mean? Like, I can live very cheaply as long as the rent is paid and the phone, which is paid. As long as those two things are paid, how do you really? I don't really need the world. You know what I mean? But I just want to be able to use these tools to assist people in seeing that, okay, there's other. You don't have to be handcuffed or shackled in your own mind to your so-called identity. And I don't know. I don't want to rant on too long here, but you got to think, your time, you want to be head down grinding and working, but you also don't want to be chasing your tail or going in circles. So that's my little encouragement for the weekend, is that if you really feel that maybe the thing you're doing is not producing the results that you, even if it's a little bit of your imagination telling you that you should be further along. Because there's no further along, there's just the right now and your situation as it's happening right now. But if you think that something, because it's intuition too, right? Innately, internally that maybe a situation or circumstance that you're in is not the greatest or the smartest way to go about things. But then you have people giving you advice, and their advice is only given to you from the standpoint of their experiences. And if their experiences is like a nonprofit or a conventional 9-to-5 experience, it's not going to really matter that you think it's not going to really matter that their advice is the greatest advice from that standpoint. You have to really think to yourself, okay, do I really want to continue to do this? Is this really, how can you help people when you yourself are kind of struggling out, and struggling and grinding? You have to actually help yourself first. And I think this is, it's like you're being half in and half out of the world of just make money, and then in the world of do-gooderism. And you say to yourself, okay, so maybe I need to leave because I had what was it? How long was this? Was this a year or so, or whatever it was? Yeah, it was like a year and a bit of working within the confines and the structure of a kind of conventional nonprofit, and I didn't jive with the overall message. I didn't really jive with that kind of a structure, and I just kind of was like, I gotta move on and focus on other things, which worked. And then as time went on, I'm like, oh, maybe, trying to get a glimpse back into that window of nonprofit do-gooderism. You say to yourself, okay, well, maybe I can reapproach this. And then you realize quickly, like, nah, this isn't the thing. This isn't the move. So that's my little words of wisdom for the weekend, is you can help without having to necessarily, especially now with these other tools, with like the internet and so on. You're helping people can be helping one-on-one direct in a certain format. Like, I'm sure this rant will probably help somebody because they're probably thinking the same thing that I'm thinking, because there's no unique thoughts. There's no totally unique thoughts. And therefore, what I'm thinking will likely resonate with somebody else. I got to be mindful of the time. All right. Yeah. I got to be mindful of the time, because my little side thing of delivering flyers, the person's going to hand off the flyers after 6, whatever the fuck that means, right? So yeah, you can help people in a certain way one-on-one. You don't have to work within the structure of the quote-unquote system or the framework of the system, because not everybody, like my personality and my own experiences means, and maybe as the months go on, I'll get further deeper into my own experiences. But this isn't. I'm not really gonna be working within that that construct. You know what I mean? Like I'm not. That's not gonna happen. So it's better to accept that reality and find alternative ways to quote unquote help. So anyway, that's my little rant for Friday. Friday feeling. Have a good weekend, folks. Peace.